You're reaching for the finish line.
You dig down deep, decide to find.
You're really gonna want it.
The strength that you need, the will to succeed. This is it. It's for him and for you. For you.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Really proud. A Coke.
The biggest taste in China.
Great race. Who's your coach? My dad.
Coke is it.
Coke is it. Welcome back to the Gen X Lounge. Grab a Coke and hang out where we discuss the pop culture of today. And look back at the pop culture yesterday, mostly we just shoot the shit. This is episode 41. I am Brian. And with me, get the whole gang. Once again, we got Bolo.
What's up, party people? How we doing?
Hi, Bolo. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good to hear you. See you
Good to be seen.
in our non-video podcast.
That's right. Dutch is here.
What's going on, homies?
Hey, Dutch.
Welcome back, Dutch.
How's it
You weren't
going?
on the
We
last
miss
one,
you,
right?
Dutch.
Yeah, we do miss you.
No, it wasn't. Did you guys know yesterday was National Superhero Day?
No.
No.
Well, if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah, we had something on our floor, or just I guess in my team, where the wanted us to wear superhero gear, and I'm assuming that was a part of that.
Please tell me
possibly.
you were. Did you rock the entire bat suit that I know you have?
I actually sold that bat suit, but I did wear a full Marvel hoodie that Quinn has seen me in and was like, "Chris Jones, what are you doing?"
Yeah. I think I shamed you into selling the batsuit.
No, he didn't shame me into that. That was something.
I don't think you can shame Bolo into doing much of anything.
I don't know, man. I asked him if he was actually going to fight crime in Wilmington, and then a month later, that batsuit was gone.
They don't hold up very well, do they?
Honestly, the suit I didn't have. It's a motorcycle suit. I mean, it's something I could have worn every year without fail for Halloween, but that thing is insanely hot because it's designed for you to be on a motorcycle going a minimum of 50 miles an hour to keep you cool. So every time I wore it, just kind of chilling, it was like
You weren't chilling though because it was hot.
baking in my own juaces, which is
Bolo,
Hey, all right.
Bolo juice.
yes, it's
The best
so
kind of
not
juice.
fun, so not fun. And then you drink on top of that in that suit, it makes it even worse. So yeah, it was time. It was time.
In case you haven't heard, the Mighty Quinns also here.
Hey, that's me.
Hey, you're here.
Yep. What's going on, fellas?
Nothing.
Yo.
Nothing.
The mighty Quinn.
So
The mighty Q. The question is, do you have the powers of a Q, Quinn?
I wish, man.
what?
I wish.
What are the powers of a Q?
See, if you're a Star Trek nerd, you would know that. They
Yeah.
can do anything.
No.
Trek thing,
I
my
was-
friend.
I was thinking of Q from James Bond, and I was
Or
like,
Q,
well,
the
that-
winged- the winged
I would take
serpent?
that too. I would take that too. Be a
like the
tech wizard.
ability to make a pen that explodes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's episode 41. We got a little bit of news. We got a little bit of trailers. We got some fun back in the day that is Coca Cola related. Speaking of Coca Cola, that commercial that I played to start the episode,
That was Keanu Reeves in there, yeah.
Keanu Reeves, yes,
Yeah.
from 1983. I didn't know if you would. Did you remember the commercial? Or did you just recognize his voice?
I recognized the commercial, and I remembered like vividly when he was like, "My dad." At the
Yeah.
end, that Keanu voice, Keanu Reeves voice.
Yeah, dude, that commercial was from 1983. That's impressive that you remembered it.
Yeah. Well, I've probably seen it a couple times over the years on like VH1 and stuff when they talk about Keanu.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's pretty funny. I vaguely remembered it when I found that while I was digging through old Coca Cola commercials. But yeah, I mean, he's unmistakable. He looks like Keanu from Bill and Ted, and he sounds exactly like Keanu. So, here's a new segment called "Want to Feel Old."
Too old for this shit.
If I saw this online, if Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was made in 1981, takes place in 1936. If it was remade today using the same time gap, it would take place in 1981.
God
Yeah.
damn it. God damn it.
Yeah, so we're as far away from 1981 as 1981 was to 1936.
Dude, I saw a bunch of those this week. I don't know if they were circulating or what, but it was like whenever Stand By Me came out, it was supposed to take place in like 1959. And if it came out today, it would take place in 1998. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was one other I can't remember, but yeah.
We're getting old, gents.
That's rough.
Crazy.
And you guys are still 10 years old.
We were getting some feedback there. I don't know what's going on. My wife is upstairs. She's actually stuck working. She has a client call, so I hope it doesn't affect the internet too much. But yeah, there's always a bunch of those Back to the Future ones too, where it's like, you know, if Back to the Future took place now, the music he would listen to would be from 1993 or
I think that was the first time I saw an example of that exact meme was like when Back to the Future turned 30 and it was like the amount of time that passed between 1955 and 1985 is the same as 1985. I'm like, thanks for the reminder.
So now it would be 1995 music, right? So yeah, because that's 30 years ago. So he would play. What would he play?
Nirvana. He would have been.
What would he play at the talent show? He'd play.
You said "Smells Like Teen Spirit,"
right, or something
I was
like
gonna
that.
say, like you made that. You made that one a little while back. It was a good one.
Oh man, that was good then. It's good now. Yeah. So that's what I have for back in the day. Is some fun stuff about Coca Cola, and also just some generic April factoids. And then I feel like that we're going to have a lot of current stuff to talk about. Dutch, you saw Sinners.
Did.
Daredevil wrapped up, and The Last of Us is 3 episodes into the 7-episode season. And I think we all probably have many things to say about that. That will be spoilerific, but that won't be till the end. So, but fair warning, we will be doing some spoilers for that stuff. But now let's do some news. Oh, yeah. Local news. Local news, Dutch. I saw this. You live in the home of Peeps.
Correct.
2 billion Peeps made a year in your hometown.
Correct. Yes, and they do the Peep drop on New Year's Eve down at Arts Quest.
Is it like a big lit up Peep?
I don't know if it's lit up, but it's a big Peep.
That's awesome.
And then they shoot off the fireworks and everything. It's really a dumb to do, but it happens.
They do a mushroom drop at our New Year's Eve in my town.
Like
with a big lit up, like a big lit up mushroom, because we're the mushroom capital of the world.
So isn't that like saying you're the shit capital of the world? Is that kind of where you're going with
if you visit, you'll understand that.
I have visited your house plenty of times, sir.
You must have come on a good day.
I guess so. All I remember was I had to drive past the original Wawa dairy farm to get to you.
Yeah. That's right. But yeah, I saw that and I said, let me add that to the thing, even though it's really not pertinent to anything.
So Peeps are disgusting, yeah?
They are. They are absolutely gross.
Oh no, I love them.
Oh my gosh!
Listen, as far as Just Born goes, give me the Mike and Ike's and the hot tamales. I'm good with that. I don't.
There's always one person in the group that loves Peeps. Oh my god,
I love them. Oh my god, I love them. I don't like Cadbury eggs, but I love Peeps.
Who the hell doesn't like a Cadbury egg?
I don't know. There's something about
people that like Peeps. Their taste buds are all backwards.
Maybe. Yeah, I love Peeps, man. They're fucking good. And you know what's really good? They can make a s'mores with a Peep. Use a Peep instead of a regular mushroom.
How is that better?
Marshmallow. It's because it's.
Oh my god!
Had I known this, I would have actually went down and did the podcast from in front of the Just Born factory. It's legitimately like 5 minutes down the road.
Huh? Interesting.
Peeps to me taste like science class chemicals. You know what I mean? That's
fine. If you want, it's literally when you come up to the casino It's a 5-minute drive from the casino. If you have your heart set on Peeps, I will take you and be like, here it is.
Do they do a tour? Like the Hers potato chip factory out here does a tour?
I'm sure they do. I wouldn't know because I've never felt the need to tour the factory.
You get a Peep right off the assembly line like they do at the Hers factory. They give you a nice hot potato chip right off the assembly line.
And it'll never taste that way again.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Yeah, that's a thing.
You'll have that memory of that potato chip hot.
Yeah, I've never actually.
How many times I've had to clean throw up off of the Peep room floor?
I love.
It's a reasonable question.
I think. Here's another thing I found. Harvard University study shows 40% of adults say that they're in a friendship recession and that they only have friends online. It's probably accurate. I mean, I only see you guys online. I know you in real life, but for the most part, like I don't think people do hang out as much as they used to.
What are they considering adults in that survey? I wonder.
I think it's over 25. I think is what it said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think too many people once they get past like going out to bar age go out anymore. Like, I don't know. When I was in my 30s, we still all were going out. We don't really nobody. I don't know. I don't feel like people really go out.
I used to have several different crews. You know what I mean? I'd go out with these guys one time, and that's pretty much all petered out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still at that point where I have different crews. So I'm fortunate.
I don't know if was it COVID that caused that? Is it
probably?
Is it because people don't have money to spend on frivolous avocado toast with their friends?
Well, I think it just also breaks you out of traditions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You traditionally go here with these, and then for 2 years you couldn't do it.
And then you sort of discover how much you love just being at home.
Yeah, I do love being at home.
I knew that already.
I do love being at home. Yeah. But you know what I do? I do like also having people over and doing shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like on a Friday or Saturday night. I do enjoy that.
You're an entertainer, my friend.
Yeah, I just like hanging out. I'm a hanger-outer.
A hanger-outer.
Here's another survey. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'm an introvert. I prefer being home to anything.
I'm an introvert too, and I think you're way more of an introvert than me.
Oh yeah, big time.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I really find that hard to like the way we interact, and like when you both of you say you're introverts, that makes no sense to me. It you know what I mean.
Chris Jones, how many times we're good friends? How many times you been invited to my house in the last 10 years?
I'm going to say going on
none.
Number 0. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, you know what? Though
doesn't mean I don't love you.
We might not be introverts. I think the more appropriate term is homebodies.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, being an introvert means you don't really want to talk to anybody either. Which I
don't generally want to do that. But like I have the same select friends that I've had for 40 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not in the market for new friends.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to make friends. Like if all my friends disappeared tomorrow. Like, I don't know how I would make new friends. It'd be weird.
No, it's just you from here on out.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm alone.
It is definitely The Last of Us with Brian.
Here's another survey I found from NPR. Well, it was reported in NPR. The survey was from the language learning site Preply. More than half of Americans say they use subtitles because movie soundtracks are too hard to understand. I am one of them. How about any of you guys? I'm subtitles 90% of the time.
Yeah, they're the dynamics when it comes to this shit these days. Like it's absolutely like all over the place. Like I have been the same way. Dialogue is inaudible, and you turn your TV all the way up, and then you get blasted with music and sound effects. And I love me loud music in movies. Don't get me wrong, but not to the detriment of like the whole shebang, I guess.
Well, I was just thinking about this earlier because I very, very seldom use subtitles because I find it distracting. But I was just watching Andor, and man, everybody's like all so secretive that they constantly have their their heads down and they're talking out of their side of their mouth to each other in a, like a Cockney British accent, and I can't understand shit.
Yeah.
So I had to put them on. And just like Dutch said, you turn the volume all the way up, and then there's a surprise fight scene, you know what I mean, with lasers and shit that blast your eardrums out. So no.
And you don't have to do it with older movies. Like I don't have to put subtitles on for a movie from before 2010, probably. But
why do you think that is?
I think it's because all the movies are mixed to be for theaters that have like 500 speakers, and they don't take into consideration people's houses. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a combination of that. It's like just the need for things to just generally be louder. That's why you have like a lot of compression on like music and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, if you have a home theater system, like I have a home theater system set up in my basement, but I don't have anything in my main TV watching, and this stuff is in my living room, and like the speakers in those TVs are garbage. That's the other thing. Like they're probably the cheapest speakers that they can put in them. So unless you have like a really nice home theater system, and even with my home theater system, I find it's wonky. So yeah, if it's anybody speaking with any kind of an accent, subtitles have to be turned on. So, but I don't like it because I do find myself just reading the subtitles, especially when the subtitles appear a split second or a second before they start talking, and it ruins what they're going to say. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I used to make fun of my sister for because going back 20 years, she's always needed the subtitles on there, and not even like just so she can better process what's going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. But to your point, I just find that I'm reading, not watching anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched stuff where there's subtitles where it's people talking in the background that's so quiet that I'm not sure it's meant to be understood what they're saying. And the subtitles will put it on the screen. And that's kind of interesting when you see something like that, where it's just like dialogue that's going on past the whatever's happening on screen, but it'll still put it on in the subtitles. So sometimes
but it also gives you bullshit like indistinct chatter or suspenseful music. You know what I mean? I don't need to have that written down.
Yeah. I've watched horror movies where it ruins the jump scare where it'll be like creature approaching. Like, oh, thanks. That's awesome. I didn't want to be scared or anything.
and I don't know who that's for, because is it adding anything to a hearing impaired person to know that there's suspenseful music going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, conceivably, if you had something terrible happen where you lost your hearing, you could.
Then it would be. That's closed captioning. That's not necessarily subtitle. Like Netflix.
No. Yeah, closed captioning and subtitles.
Netflix doesn't differentiate between closed captioning and subtitles. They just put it all on the screen. Some things, if you pick subtitles, it will only give you the subtitles, which is nice. But yeah, if you put on closed captioning, or if they just cheat and use closed captioning for their subtitles, then then it will tell you literally every single sound that's on screen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, we got some. Oh, wait, hang on.
That did sound like a grumpy old man segment.
Yeah, I know. We got some.
Morning, dickhead.
Godzilla news. Sam Neill, the great Sam Neill, has been cast in the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, which started filming this month. So there you go. What do you think about that?
Confirmed.
What do you think about that? Think about that, Dutch? It's gonna be a good movie.
I have no thoughts. I hope it's good.
I have one. I'm immediately embarrassed for Sam Neill. That's my first thought. Poor Sam Neill.
Sam Neill needs to pay some bills.
I mean, I didn't really like the last movie at all. That doesn't mean that this next one doesn't have a chance. I mean, like, I don't, I'm gonna give everything its shot to like work.
Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, I love anything that Sam Neill does. Sam Neill is fucking Sam Neill. He's awesome. So it's, I don't know.
Do you know what he's gonna play? Is he gonna invent another Iron Man glove for Kong to wear?
Some scientist man that'll make some quips, and then fade into the background.
A Kong gauntlet.
Yeah.
When
If
the
he's
hell
playing
was that
Alan
movie?
Grant, I might watch that.
That'd be funny. How,
And he just has a nightmare where Godzilla's just like, Alan.
or the little mini Kong baby.
Sucko.
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 How did that movie come out last April or 2 Aprils ago? How old is
It's only been a year.
that? God damn, that's crazy.
It was March. It came out in March, the end of March of last year.
Me and Quinn saw that movie in a theater, and then it hit streaming, and Brandy was with me, and I was like, "Oh, the new Godzilla movie's on streaming. Let's watch it." And she was like, "Okay." And like 5 minutes into it, I was like, "You know, I'm just gonna turn this off." And I've never gone back to watch it again. Like I don't know. It's just yeah. But even I like bad Godzilla movies. It's just.
It was entertaining. That's what you're going for. It's entertaining, but
it's just so.
I liked Godzilla versus Kong a lot.
I like that one a lot.
And I like Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah,
they still looked like giant monsters in that film. Like in Godzilla X Kong, that was my biggest issue. Was like just the way the shots were sort of like
there was no scale.
Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, like. I don't know. We've beat that topic to death.
The monsters are too big. That's the other problem. They're so big that it's like ridiculous. Like they tower over everything. So even when they're fighting in a city, it loses that because they're so much bigger than the city. Like they're not, I like.
Yeah, but I mean, go back to Godzilla versus Kong though, dude. When Godzilla lands in Hong Kong, the way that they showed him when he goes through the fucking bridge, like when his foot comes down and it just pans up, like they made him look like a believable giant monster. Like I thought the effects in that movie were fucking great.
Yeah,
and he looked appropriate. Like he looked like just a giant ass monster. And like in Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla X Kong. I think it was, you got that beginning scene where Kong's getting the tooth extraction, and then the next time that, for my taste, the next time that Kong looks like a giant monster, like a legit giant monster, is the first shot you see of him when he's walking on the surface in Egypt, and it's very hazy, like there's atmosphere and shit, and it actually looks like a giant ass monster.
Yeah,
that's just for my taste.
Yeah, it's just too much.
I don't know why that made me laugh so hard, but.
Yeah, because it's
that first scene where Kong is getting that tooth extraction.
It's just ridiculous.
That movie sucks.
Funny enough, I thought that was funny as shit, like that sequence. So,
well, Kong is great and all. I mean, he's a very likable character.
It is. It's a really good version of Kong.
They give him personality, and he's fun. Yeah. So, let's see what else I got. We got Oscar news. The Oscars are going to finally award an Oscar for best stunt design, so that's pretty cool. That's about time, I feel like. Just in time for the Mission Impossible movie.
I was going to say, is that the Tom Cruise award?
Yeah. No, that's cool though. I mean, because those people do crazy ass shit and really don't get any whatsoever. So, that's pretty awesome. And then we got a premiere announcement: The Bear season 4. Premiering on June 15th.
You guys watch The Bear?
I do. I like it. Yeah, it's good. Quinn, I know you don't like it. It's too stressful for you.
Yeah, I don't watch TV to be stressed out.
Yeah, it's season 4 was, or excuse me, 3 was not my favorite. I hope season 4 gets back to the good shit. Let's see. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions were announced. We got Bad Company, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Outkast, Soundgarden, The White Stripes, and Ric Flair. Cyndi Lauper, not Ric Flair.
He said Ric Flair. I was like, oh, what?
Hey, man, that was a small thumbnail.
Because Quinn saw that thumbnail and I thought that was Ric Flair. So yeah,
the big white buffant and the powerful pose. I was like, oh, woo!
It's not a bad lineup. I think it's good.
What would you say is the most surprising there out of that lineup? Any?
I mean, the White Stripes seems a bit premature.
I'm a little surprised that like Salt and Pepper are going in as like on the back end of things, like a legacy sort of induction. And I mean, as much as I like the fact that Outkast is going in, I feel like why is Salt and Pepper not getting like an actual like a legit induction? Well, they're on. It's like one of those like I think it's like whatever that legacy deal is, or
I don't know how that works, but how does Chubby Checker get in and the normal way, and then Salt and Pepper a legacy choice?
My question is, how the hell long has Chubby Checker been on the damn ballot?
Yeah,
that's the real question there.
Chubby Checker has the twist, obviously, and let's twist again, like we did last summer. And what? Like, honestly, am I missing? Because I'm not saying that necessarily to insult Chubby Checker. I just don't know. Like, I mean, the twist, I guess, in the grand scheme of rock and roll, is a fairly important song. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Soundgarden's cool. I mean, they probably deserve to be in there. Bad Company, obviously. Joe Cocker is fine. Cyndi Lauper's awesome. I'm glad as shit she's going in. I love Cyndi Lauper.
Joe Cocker, fine.
Yeah, me too.
Cyndi Lauper, awesome.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper's great. So,
Chubby Checker also had Slow Twistin' and Twistin' USA to go with the twist and Let's Twist Again.
A lot of twists.
All right.
He also had Limbo Rock. I didn't know if that's his, but that's on his greatest hits.
Interesting. So he took that twist theme and he just ran with it.
He milked it.
He milked it for all it was worth. Quinn, this is more for me and you, but it came up 2 weeks ago, and it's been hitting a lot of the metal websites and blogs, and it is about Faith No More, who we've discussed on here a few times. But apparently there's some drama in the Faith No More camp. The drummer Mike Borden went on a podcast and was asked about Mike Patton, who's been their singer since the 90s. And they've been on kind of an indefinite hiatus since COVID. And Mike Patton has been touring pretty much nonstop since touring started again with Mr. Bungle, his other band. And the drummer basically said that Mike Patton basically has no time for them anymore, has made it abundantly clear that he's not interested in doing anything with them anymore, and that, they were all hurt and so on and so forth. So that's kind of been going on, which sucks because I have a feeling we'll never see them again. But so I have a question for you, because this has been coming up a lot in the Faith No More Reddit group and the Mike Patton Reddit group and stuff like that. But if they got a different singer, would you go see them? With how important he is to the band.
My instinct is to say no, because he's such a dynamic talent and so kind of unique. But that said,
lose Faith No More if you lose him.
Well, I'd kind of like to hear the new singer. You know what I mean? Before I made that judgment, and just see if he had any talent. But he kind of makes those songs.
Yeah,
and he also makes a lot of the humor that you like the band for. So but if they found somebody really talented that could crush those songs, then yeah, I'd go see him.
Yeah,
but like I said, my instinct would be to say no.
I think I would go see them because I love the band so much, and they're such a good band anyway. I mean, as long as it wasn't something completely ridiculous, like they got the guy from Nickelback or something. But I mean, if they got somebody who could do the songs justice, and I'm not saying like somebody who could sing like Mike Patton or do a Mike Patton impression, but just somebody that I feel like I'd be down for that, I think. And they deserve.
You don't think Jack Kroger fits that bill, dude?
No, I don't think so. But there are people that could do it, I think, that are out there. So I just wanted to toss that out there to you. I also toss this out to everyone too. I know it's still a few months away, but we do have Superman, and we got Fantastic Four, and we got Jurassic Park, and they're all coming out within like 12 days of each other.
What is the Jurassic? What's Jurassic Park?
It's the one with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, right.
Jurassic World. What the fuck is it?
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Jurassic World Rebirth. Okay.
Weebuff.
Weebuff. So we're gonna do it now, and then we're gonna look back on it after July's over. But all right, bold July predictions of those 3 movies. Who's 1, 2, and who's 3?
What are we talking? Box office or quality?
No, definitely not quality. Box office.
Jurassic Park's 3. I can tell you that right off the bat.
I go the opposite way. I think Jurassic World will be.
I think Jurassic World will be number 1 also, because those movies all do $1 billion.
Yes,
people love some dinosaurs.
The Jurassic.
I haven't seen one since forever, since the original Chris Pratt one.
And isn't that crazy? Because they've all done a fucking $1 billion, and I've only seen one of the Chris Pratt ones in the theater, and all the rest I watched on streaming, and they all still do like buku bucks.
It's considered a family movie, so the kids want to see this movie. You know,
I mean, so Superman and Fantastic Four.
Those are all family movies,
right? But keep in mind, but more so, you know, young kids in terms of education. That I'm thinking of that realm. You know, for reasons for like repeat viewings for like a Jurassic Park. That's just my spin.
I just think those movies are like flop proof for some reason.
I don't know. They're
sorry, go ahead, Quinn.
Didn't what was it, Dominion or whatever? Didn't that flop?
No, it made $1 billion.
Did it really?
It just had terrible. It just got terrible reviews, and
maybe that's what it was. Bad. Everything I heard about it said it was awful.
And that was in the post-pandemic era too. It made $1 billion.
Which one is? Is that the third one or the second one? That's the second one, right?
No, that was the third.
That's where they bring the cast together. They have the original cast.
No, that one did buku because they brought the whole cast together. So
I thought it was. I heard it was awful. I never saw it.
It's not good, but it's way better than the second of that trilogy. The second one is really bad.
See, and the second one I thought was attempted to do something different a little bit, just execution wise didn't work for me. But
none of them are great. The first one is fun.
I like the first one a lot.
It's fun because it's fun in the same way that the Force Awakens is fun. It's fun because it takes so many cues from the first Jurassic Park, just like the Force Awakens takes so many cues from the original Star Wars.
Force Awakens is a remake. That's all it is. But Jurassic. I mean, Chris Pratt teaching the dinosaurs. I'm out. He's training the Velociraptors. Okay, I'm out.
Is that really that hard to fathom?
Yes.
I mean, people do that with like lions and bears and shit. I mean, it's not like.
But the way they talked about the way they build up the Velociraptors in the earlier series.
Oh yeah, they're scary as shit. They just become like almost like carnival monsters in the new ones. But like, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, Brian, because we might have talked about this, but like the Jurassic World franchise basically follows the same trajectory as the Star Wars sequels. Like, whereas you rightly compared Jurassic World to Force Awakens, it's both a sequel and basically a remake of the original film. Then you have that second movie that goes batshit crazy with just off the wall stuff, and then the studio panics, and then they bring back the guy who directed the first film in the trilogy and are like, get us back on track, and then shit just goes really far off the rails.
That's really true. All right, so I think that'll be 1. Dutch, you think that'll be 1?
I think objectively Jurassic World will be number 1. Superman and Fantastic Four, I am not sure about, because Fantastic Four, I'm going to be curious about how Thunderbolts does, because the Marvel apathy seems to be like a real thing.
Thunderbolts really, really good early word, and I have not read any reviews, and I've not read any spoilers.
You gotta go.
I know, but I'm super fucking excited for Thunderbolts. But yeah, I think Superman will be 2, and I think Fantastic Four will be 3, though. Honestly,
I could see that being the case. I'm not sure that Superman's going to be $1 billion movie. I think if it does, number 1, it has to be critically well received, and 2, if it makes like the Batman money, like around 700 to 800 million, I think the studio is going to consider that a big success.
Well, it is a success. Well, it should be a success, but
I mean, I want Superman to make $1 billion if it's a good movie that deserves to make $1 billion. But realistically, will it?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out if superhero apathy is real. Or
Yeah.
fatigue or whatever.
What do you think, Bolo and Quinn? What do you think is going to be 1, 2, 3?
Quinn, what you get, bud?
Well, like I said, you guys convinced me. I thought Jurassic Park easily, just because it's probably going to be the worst of those three, would be third. I would say Superman is number one just because of the name recognition. People that are not going to line up for the next Marvel or for the next DC movie will go to Superman just based on the name, ticket-wise. If it's great, then I think it'll crush the other two, if it's a great movie.
Yeah.
If it's average, then I think it'll be more in line with Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was going to do way better than it did. But I don't know. I don't think Fantastic Four has the name recognition. It doesn't have the momentum that other Marvel films had. And while it looks cool and it looks different, there's already been several Fantastic Four movies that
are not good. Yeah,
that aren't good. So I think that'll hamper it. So based on you guys talking about Jurassic Park, I'll say 1 Jurassic Park, 2 Superman, and 3 Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Got to rely on that crypto cuteness. Sorry, Bolo.
No, there you go, man. Please.
No, we haven't heard from you, Bolo.
No, okay. My gut tells me Superman will be number 1, Jurassic Park will be number 2, and then Fantastic Four. They just have too many bad films or predecessor films that came before it that it's going to be hard for it to find its footing. I like to think it will be good because now Marvel Studios has it. I like to think Superman is well overdue for a very successful outing. I think this will be that one. I think this will be that one that's going to put Superman back on the map. This is what I'm hoping for. I have faith in James Gunn's vision, considering he gave us 3 amazing Guardians movies, and I think he has the right sensibility for the alien type stuff. You know what I mean? Because again, his experience with the Guardians movies. I like to think this is going to be more so. There's going to be a lot of Earth stuff, but there's going to be kind of elements that give us somewhat of a space odyssey because of all the characters that are going to be in it with Superman. Jurassic Park, I don't really have any skin in the game. I'm not going to go see that because I didn't see.
Now, did any of the Guardians movies make $1 billion?
The first one did, I think.
No,
over time. I don't know that it did. I just think it did better than people expected.
I don't think any of them
maybe.
did.
Yeah, you might.
I don't think any of them made $1 billion. I think they all made upwards of like 700, 800, 900 million. I don't think any of them crossed $1 billion.
I would love for the Superman experience at the theater to be what the first Guardians experience was for me, because it was so unexpectedly good and fun. And just seeing that in the theater and being like, dude, what? How is this so fucking good? Like,
yeah, and we don't even know these characters at all.
Yeah, yeah.
It was such a great introduction.
Yeah, it's just such a fun and good movie.
Yeah, and I say this till I'm blue in the face. Green Lantern should have been what Guardians was: 5 minutes on Earth, and then the rest is a space opera. That's what Guardians is, and Guardians is brilliant for doing just that.
And I think the space scenes in Green Lantern are pretty good. You know what I mean? Like I was into that. Yeah. But Guardians also really fed off of the music that really fed into it. I don't know if you're going to have that with Superman. Maybe you will. I don't know.
Superman does not need to be a needle drop movie to be good.
No, but I think that helped all 3 Guardians movies.
And the music kind of like figured into the plot, though. I mean, because that was
right
mixtape, you know what I mean? And they were songs that like related to his character, so like they weren't just strictly needle drops, you know what I mean?
No, but they added a degree of fun into the whole flow of the movie that I don't know that Superman's going to have. I have concerns about Superman just because I don't. Bolo, you said you have faith in James Gunn. I'm encouraged that James Gunn, and I don't have faith in it. Like, he's so out there and weird that he doesn't get an automatic pass for me. Like, if he weirds up Superman, You know what I mean?
No,
I don't know that that's what people go to see a Superman for.
Right.
Yes, we don't really need dick jokes in Superman like the Suicide Squad, but
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get it.
No, I don't think any of that's going to happen because.
And I also don't need
character.
like oddball characters in the Superman film either. Like I don't need the Weasel or Polka Dot Man. Like I don't need that kind of silliness injected into the movie. I do want it to be fun. I want it to be colorful. So, and it, from what I saw of it, it looks like it's going to be that. But I don't have faith that he's going to knock it out of the park and make anything other than a fun movie. That doesn't mean I won't enjoy it. I just don't know if a fun movie makes the $1 billion.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't necessarily think it's going to be. I hope it makes $1 billion if it's good.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think it's automatic. But I don't think it has to. I think it just has to make like I said, right around like $800 million. The studio will be happy.
Yeah. I wanted to invest me in a franchise. I want to be sucked into like the DC universe. You know what I mean? Based on this movie, I want to be excited for more movies. After this comes out,
you want this.
I would love that.
That would be great.
We need
this league. All right, let's do some trailers.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
I mean, maybe Kal-El's mom like throws a mixtape in the rocket right before they shoot him off of Krypton.
Just like random thought that just comes out.
Yeah. All right, so we got some trailers. We'll only briefly touch on this one because I feel like half of us have not watched it, but 2 of us did. And that is the Fantastic Four trailer that dropped last week, I think. Mm-hmm. Quinn, you did not watch it. Bolo, did you watch it? You said you weren't gonna. So
I did not. I'm in the same boat as Quinn. Quinn is quintessentially told me.
Yeah.
He looped me in. It gives too much away.
The trailer did not. The trailer
It's just so much better, guys, to go in blind and not have.
I think you're going to have to cover your eyes and ears.
Probably
because there's no way it's not getting shown at the beginning of Thunderbolts.
That's true.
I don't think it showed anything shocking other than one thing that it could have gone either way, and it just verifies that it is going that way. But I'm not going to say what it is. But I thought the trailer was good. I like the way it looks. The whole aesthetic of it's cool as shit.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. Dutch, anything that without ruining it for these 2 that stood out that is that you can vaguely discuss.
Yeah, that one thing at the end with the thing, not the thing, but the other thing. The big thing coming down on the thing, and then going, like that was a really good shot. Love that. Love the way that looked. And then
that's a good thing that we saw. That.
But then there was the other thing, not the other thing, but the other thing. That the look of which just kind of I was not impressed kind of with the look in the trailer. Hopefully the CGI will look a little bit better. I'm of course talking about the Shalabal Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Something about something looked off about the way that character looked in the trailer, so I don't know.
There were a lot of things in the trailer that I liked, though.
Things. Yeah. There were some good things.
A lot of good things.
We got to see a little bit of the.
Got to see a little bit of Stretchy, which is the thing that more than any other. I'm trying not to say thing now. More than any other part of that crew, I feel like is the hardest effect to pull off, where it doesn't look completely stupid in live action.
The other movies failed at that.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to do. Like even with completely updated technology, I just think it's such a goofy thing.
It's a goofy visual.
Yeah, it's just but a little bit they showed in the trailer, and it is a very little bit. It looks like how you kind of want it to look. It's pretty cool. So,
okay.
And then we got a trailer. Go ahead, Bolo.
That thing of stretching thing is
not the thing.
It's not. it's not overblown. It's like,
well, I don't know. It's not
subtle.
him stretching his arm across like, a room or anything like that. It's a very quick. He's almost doing like a twisty turny thing, not so much a stretchy thing.
Gotcha.
So, and then we got a trailer a couple days ago for Predator Badlands, which is a sequel to Prey, but not. Well, it might be related to the Predator thing we talked about last episode, which was that animated show. And it looks fine, although the advertising for it that I saw, it's like Disney's new film introduces a child predator. And I'm like, you gotta say that in a different way.
Yeah, dude,
you gotta say that in a different way, Disney. That is not. And it's got a picture of like the predator in it. I'm like, dude, you can't say in this movie the predator is a child predator.
How did that make it past copy editing?
I don't know.
Let alone like
I don't know. But somehow
I did think it was funny in that trailer how handsome the new Predator is.
Yeah, he's a dapper fellow.
Even though he still has the finger face, his like hair is pulled back all slick. It's like a model version of the Predator.
Like a nice widow's peak. I don't know. People were flipping out over that. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I was I think it looks better than the Predator that was in Prey, and I loved Prey. That movie was
Prey
too.
It's just that I'm like, oh, here's action hero Predator.
Yeah, it reminded me of on Mystery Science Theater 3000 when Crow brushes his hair back, and it's just the lacrosse net is just flipped backwards on his head.
I love
that. Then we got a trailer for Weapons, which is a new horror movie from the director of Barbarian. Which, if you've not seen Barbarian, you should definitely see it. It's fucking great.
Barbarian's a great movie.
So good. And this looks pretty good too. It doesn't really give away. A bunch of kids disappear at 2:17 a.m. And where did they go and why did they go there? It
all the kids from the same classroom.
Yeah, it looks like wherever they went and whatever happened to them isn't good. So that's cool. And it's got the girl who's playing Silver Surfer in it.
Julia Garner.
Who was also in Wolfman, and this looks considerably better than Wolfman. So good.
The Wolfman.
Good for her. Good for her picking a better horror movie to be in. Speaking of good horror movies, 28 Days Later trailer.
Oh my god!
Absolutely terrifying and awesome.
It looks good.
Oh yeah,
it looks terrifying.
And that's a good trailer. That's a good trailer that doesn't give away a bunch of stuff. Like
I actually watched it.
I left that trailer and I didn't understand. I didn't know. I felt like I didn't know any big plot points. I feel like nothing was. That's a good solid trailer that just hypes you up for the movie, but doesn't give really anything away. And
they use that freaking song again. That just
that
terrifying.
Poem,
yeah.
And then today. Okay, but what were you gonna say?
No. I'm just saying that song is terrifying. That kind of it's a voiceover and it's kind of almost.
Man, it's like a poem from World War I.
It's like. It's like a poem set to music almost. And
I think it's like a T.S. Eliot poem or something.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's unnerving.
Yeah.
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
I can't wait. I'm super looking. My sister has never seen any of those, so we're going to do the first two at one of our scary movie nights that we do here.
Nice.
Actually, we should do Barbarian too, because that's just the kind of movie that my sister would be like, "What in the fuck am I watching?"
Yeah. Watching movies with Brian's sister is very entertaining.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So help me out with Barbarian. What is that about?
Well, you just watch it. It's really good. Let's just put it that. It's about an Airbnb and a woman who rents an Airbnb, and there's a guy who also accidentally rented the Airbnb for the same weekend, and then
you can stop there. I don't know that you need to.
And then nothing else goes in any way, shape, or form the way you would expect it to. It is so fucking off the rails.
I think it's Justin Long. Who else is in it?
Justin Long's in it, and I'm sure they're in there and other things, but I can't place it. I can't place any of it. So it's good though. Maybe. Okay. And then lastly today, The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne, not The Rock Johnson, because he's just going as Dwayne Johnson in this one, because this is a serious movie.
I did not know that was him.
Yeah.
Until I saw the credit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like him. I mean, he's got a fake nose. He's got hair. All his tattoos are covered. He looks like
he's white.
Well, he's playing I don't know. He's a darker white guy, maybe. I don't know. It's a real guy that he's playing. I googled the guy on, and he's a darker complected guy, but I don't know if he's a white guy. But yeah, it's a true story about one of the first ever UFC stars, and it looks really good. Like he's, like you said, unrecognizable. Not acting in his typical Rock way. He's like,
the makeup is helping him act. He does a good job, at least in the trailer.
Yeah, he's actually acting in this, which is nice.
Yeah,
and I mean, a lot of people.
Emily Blunt is in it. I was stunned.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying, Oscar bait, which would be crazy if he was nominated for an Oscar. But it looks really good.
He looks like he's going to definitely get a Golden Globe at this.
He looks like, I mean, all indications are this movie's supposedly really, 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 really well done. So,
yeah, it was a good trailer. Like I said, I was stunned midway through when I'm like, it said Dwayne Johnson. I'm like, holy shit, that is Dwayne Johnson. Once they said it, I could see it, but I didn't see it up until then. And then, like I said, I was like, Emily Blunt is in this. It's like a Jungle Cruise reunion.
Yeah, they were in Jungle Cruise together. Yeah.
Yeah, but she has since won an Oscar, right?
Yeah.
So I was surprised.
Yeah. I
Did she win the Oscar? I can't remember.
For what? Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Did she? I
don't remember either. Yeah. I just remember her all during award season.
She was not. She was definitely nominated, but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head if it was or not. But yeah, so those are the trailers. You guys have any other ones that are of note? No.
Not me.
No. All right.
Not I.
Not you. All right. Well, then in that case, let's go. Back in the day. So back in the day. So this is a kind of a big anniversary. And it is the anniversary. Well, let me get the actual date right because it's not today. It is April 23rd, 1985. So 40 years ago, New Coke was released. And New Coke has become sort of like a legend for what not to do, or like how to like fuck up your brand. And it's kind of overblown, but the whole story of it is kind of crazy. So I kind of did a deep dive on it. And we were all old enough to obviously remember it. Dutch, you probably were not.
Nope.
You were probably not born.
I was. I was maybe. Wait, you said it was April it came out?
April 85, yeah.
So I was 6 months old at that point.
So you weren't drinking new or old Coke.
Not quite yet. No.
Yeah, but it's funny though because I mean it's a pop culture thing, like especially for a long time in like the 90s and early 2000s. Like New Coke, it would be like a punchline almost,
right.
to a joke.
Well, it was like humiliating for the Coca Cola company because they had built it up so much. Like, you know what I mean? It was like a countdown to this revolutionary change that they were going to do.
Yeah.
And then it was treated with a collective thud when it came out.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. The reasoning why is interesting. And it's not the reasons you would think. It's funny. So they had been losing market share anyway. You remember when we were kids, there were always these commercials in blind taste tests. 5 out of 6 people prefer, and they would just show like the blind taste test, and like the blind taste test was a big thing in these commercials. And well,
that's what eventually became the Pepsi challenge.
That's right. And Pepsi was the one that was always winning the blind taste test. So of course Pepsi had all these commercials out in blind taste tests. People preferred taste over Coke. So their senior executives at Coke commissioned a project to create a new flavor for Coke, and they dubbed this Project Kansas, which is from a photograph of Kansas journalist William Allen White drinking a Coke, which I guess was in their offices. I don't know. So that, they spent time. Basically, it was Coke that tasted more like Pepsi at the end of the day. It's pretty much all it was. So they had a press conference at New York's Lincoln Center to introduce the new formula. The press conference didn't go particularly well because reporters had been coached on questions to be asked by Pepsi. So Pepsi had recruited reporters to basically ask gotcha questions.
Ooh, page chills.
At this press conference.
Do people these days just grasp how tough the cola wars were back in the day?
I know, it's crazy.
They were cutthroat.
Rock and roll cola wars.
But even though the press conference didn't go as they wanted it to, the rollout of new Coke was actually fairly successful, and until it rolled out in the South, and then all hell broke loose because, much like today, the South does not like change. I kid our listeners in the South. But yeah, but lots of critics were from in the South, where people, and I can't really find an explanation of this, but people for some reason consider Coca-Cola part of their regional identity. Some people went so far as comparing the change as a surrender to the Yankees of Pepsi, who manufactured their cola in New York.
Right.
It got crazy. A columnist for the Anniston Star implied that the flavor change was a communist plot.
Man, the more things change, the more they say.
Yeah. The company received over 40,000 calls and letters expressing anger and disappointment. 1-800-GET-COKE, which was the Coke hotline, received 1,500 calls a day, whereas prior to the change, they would receive about 400 a day, which even then, who the fuck is calling the Pepsi hotline 400 times? And what the fuck are you calling for? Coke hired a psychiatrist.
There's no internet. You couldn't email him. You had to call him.
Couldn't tweet at him.
Send him a letter, yeah. A psychiatrist Coke hired to listen in on the calls told Coca-Cola executives that many people sounded as if they were discussing the death of a family member.
Yeah.
So, and then the late night talk show host got in on the game, Johnny Carson and David Letterman in particular, and made it a running gag, which, again, in the 80s, if you weren't alive for that, when stuff hit the late night talk shows, it became
national news.
It became a nightly thing because they would just pound on it.
Yeah, it became a national narrative when that would happen.
Yeah. That's a better way to say that.
Once they found something that got a reaction, they just beat it to death, whether for good or for bad. You know what I mean? So, a public relations firm was formed called the Old Cola Drinkers of America. to lobby Coca-Cola to either reintroduce their old formula or to sell the old formula to another company. And then Pepsi joined in with mocking ads, took out a full page ad in the New York Times proclaiming themselves winner of the cola wars.
Yeah. And
declared a company-wide holiday, saying, by today's action, Coke has admitted that it's not the real thing. This was all a big deal in 1985.
So was the vitriol this bad when Crystal Pepsi rolled out 10 years later?
Crystal Pepsi. We had a Pepsi machine in our dorm that got Crystal Pepsi freshman year.
That's the last time I had one.
Yeah, that's also the last time I had one. Coke was also in a dispute with their bottlers over the price of the syrup that they used. Which I don't really understand how that works. I guess the bottlers had to pay a fee to Coke to bottle the Coke to sell it. I don't know how that all works, but whatever. So as soon as the change hit and the backlash started, they of course added the formula change as part of their legal arguments against Coke as well. So finally, after all was said and done, on July 11th, 1985, Coca-Cola executives held a press conference to announce the return of the original Coca-Cola, which had 79 days. That's how
they called it Coke Classic. Remember? when it came out?
79 days had passed since the new Coke's introduction. You want to know how big of a deal this press conference was? Peter Jennings of ABC News interrupted General Hospital with a special bulletin to share the news that they were changing it back. On the floor of the Senate, Senator David Pryor called the reintroduction a meaningful moment in U.S. history.
Yeah, see, this is when America had its priorities straight.
This is insane.
The company hotline received 31,600 calls in the 48 hours after the announcement.
Yeah.
So, and then of course they ramped up a whole new marketing campaign for Classic Coke, which is a whole other story for a whole other podcast. But there are thoughts. I don't think it's true, but I've seen thoughts and conspiracies that this was all a giant publicity stunt to make people so up in arms that when they said, okay, we'll bring back our old formula, that it would, basically do what it did. But I don't know. It's
ridiculous, but yeah.
The amount of insanity over changing the recipe of a soda is fucking, it's so crazy. I can't think of a modern equivalent that, you know what I mean?
Did it say anything about how long was New Coke on the market at the same time they brought back the quote classic?
It was called Coke 2. And it was, I don't have the date, but I know I read it when I was doing all this digging. I want to say it was on the market till 90 or 91.
Damn, that long.
Yeah, it was for a long time. There were two kinds of Coke out there.
That's why one said Coke Classic, and it had the little classic banner on the bottles or the cans or whatever you were getting.
Do you think
it had so much hype that they were going to introduce this new thing, and everybody was waiting for it, and then when it came out, I feel like America collectively tasted it and said, "This tastes just like Pepsi. This is bullshit."
Yeah.
And a month later, they changed it back. Yeah. That's my recollection of what
79 days.
Do you guys think if you found like a vintage case of like New Coke and you opened it, would it be safe to drink?
I don't know.
No, 30 years, 40 years.
I think the last time I had a Coke or a Pepsi.
Yeah, you guys are following what I'm getting at here. Like this could be like a Gen X Lounge special. We found like
we can find one, drink live on air.
Some vintage Coke.
If we find a vintage New Coke, I will set it up in my basement for us to all hang out down here and take a sip
Coke.
of it.
We can do it. We can do a Pepsi challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
We also should. We probably should find out if it's actually safe to drink that shit after 30 years.
40.
40.
Yeah, it's 40 years. Yeah, it's the 40-year anniversary of New Coke.
I love Coca Cola so much. It's one of my favorite things in life. I try not to drink it, but it does not dampen my love for it. Oh God, it's the best.
Yeah, I can't do any soda really anymore. If I do, I'll do like a Sprite.
I've moved on to like the flavored sparkling water that's sugar free and all that. Yeah. But man, sometimes you just want a giant ass Coke.
Funny enough, I've always been more of a Pepsi guy, and I'm not a big soda drinker.
Yeah, my household growing up, we were a Pepsi house growing up.
No, I never liked Pepsi. It was always much sweeter.
It is a lot sweeter, yeah.
So yeah,
just one Pepsi. All I wanted was a Pepsi.
Far from suicidal.
If I go to a restaurant or whatever and I order a Coke and they're like, "We just have Pepsi," I'll generally go. I'm like, well, then I know they have like A&W root beer or stuff. I'll go get something different.
Yeah.
You're right.
Ooh, a lot of shade being thrown at Pepsi. Damn.
That was so that was the big cola scandal.
Of 1985.
Of 1985 of the 80s until the next big cola scandal of the 80s, which was the Like a Prayer video. which we'll have to cover at a different time. Because remember, Madonna did the Pepsi commercial, and the commercial debuted the night before the Like a Prayer video.
Right.
And everyone
Pepsi did not know that she was going to have burning crosses on TV the next night.
Yeah. She was going to make out with Black Jesus.
Pepsi wanted to have a word after that.
Yeah, we'll have to. That'll be a story for another day.
Listen, Pepsi, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, it's funny how the nation would get so open arms about shit. Because dude, that Madonna video. I mean, you want to talk about the next day?
The world erupted.
The biggest news story was this fucking music video, craziness. All right, so let's. Today is the last day of April. No, that's a lie. Tomorrow is the last day of April. Yeah. So if you're listening to this tomorrow, it's the last day of April. Whatever day you're listening to it, tomorrow is the last day of April. So I got some fun April factoids that are pop culture-ish related. The first one is super, super, super important. And it's April 1953, the debut of TV Guide, which as a kid was one of my favorite things to read.
Yeah.
I loved TV Guide. And people like friends of mine who didn't get TV Guide, who got like the crappy free one that was in the newspaper every week, I would always like almost feel bad for them, being like, "Oh God, you don't have TV Guide, like,
right?
What do you read on the toilet?"
Yeah. I don't think we got TV Guide because I remember whenever I would like babysit for people, and they did have it, I'd get all excited.
Oh, dude, it was great. My parents let it lapse for a little while when I was in high school because they were like, it's so expensive. Because I think you had to renew it quarterly. And I remember just being completely up in arms. Like, this is not acceptable. I want my goddamn TV Guide. The one from the newspaper is not good. I hate it. Yeah, I would scour the TV Guide it would come on Thursdays. My dad would bring home the mail Thursday night, and I would grab it, and I would immediately from a very early age, immediately go start looking for Godzilla movies.
Same.
They're going to be on TV.
Although,
I just remember our heroes would be on the cover. You know what I mean? It'd be like MacGyver and then the A-Team.
Yeah, hell yeah. TV Guide was great.
I do have
being on the cover of TV Guide was a big deal. I mean, you know?
I got to add this little bit, though. I don't know what your local newspaper was. We had, I think, the Morning Call did the TV Guide appear like the local one. And they actually made a pretty good TV Guide. It was really, really concise. Like, everything was easy to read in it and everything like that.
Yeah, interesting.
It's not the same.
No,
I know it's not the same, but like that was the only TV Guide I had. Like once in a while in my house, I would find like just on a random lark, somebody had like the actual
one,
honest to goodness TV Guide.
And it wasn't like a magazine. I mean, it had articles and things like a magazine, but it was like the size of a book, you know, and it's thick. It was like an actual like book size.
Yeah, it was like,
it was basically the size of a book. Yeah.
I would want to buy it in the grocery store. You know what I mean? You'd be in the checkout line and they would have it.
Yeah.
Yep. Right there. Always.
Yep. So yeah, man, TV Guide was good shit. And our local paper was the Daily Local News or the News Journal, which was like the Wilmington, which was the Wilmington paper.
Still in.
Yeah. The Daily Local News, I think, is one. Yeah, I remember that. The Daily Local News, I think, has folded, but the News Journal still is out there. Moving on to the 70s, 1978, April, Dallas premieres on CBS. How did I?
Good show. I think I watched that with my mother.
Yeah, we're
back in the day.
We have to go backwards because my dates are all stupid.
I'd have been all 4 years old when that came out.
Yeah. April 1970, Paul McCartney announces the breakup of the Beatles. Now we'll go back to 1978. April 1978, the Philly Fanatic makes his debut. Best mascot in sports, probably. No,
he's up there.
Yeah,
he's definitely.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of competition. San Diego Chicken still kicking around.
Yeah, I think so. He'd be the only competition. I think it'd be the San Diego Chicken.
Ryan, you're probably right. Although, I mean, unfortunately, everybody does know who Mr. Met is, for maybe all the wrong reasons. But I don't think he's quite as iconic as the Philly Fanatic.
No, Philly Fanatics.
Hang on. Okay. 1979, April, Nickelodeon launches, which is funny because I would have thought that would have been way later. Yeah. 1981. I remember this being kind of a big deal. Eddie Van Halen marries Valerie Bertinelli.
Yep.
I remember that.
1982, Jane Fonda releases her first workout video. Those were very popular with moms.
Yeah, that was such a huge thing back in the day.
Yeah. And apparently in the movie The Substance, they're still a big deal. Which makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
Wasn't that the Jamie Lee Curtis movie that was
with
about
John
aerobics?
Travolta?
Yeah, and then the Olivia Newton-John video.
Yep.
Like it's spawned a whole series of things.
Yeah, but those were huge with boomer moms.
Yeah.
April 1983, the Space Shuttle Challenger makes its first voyage. And newsworthy or bad ever happened to that.
Yeah.
April 1984. This is another one that I feel like I always misremember as happening almost before I was born, but it was April 1984. Marvin Gaye is shot and killed by his father. And I don't know why, but in my brain, I feel like he had died way before. He had been killed way before.
No, I remember when that happened.
Yeah, see, I don't. It's weird. But yeah. April 1987, Headbangers Ball debuts on MTV. That was a pretty important show for young me.
I was finishing 8th grade at the time.
Yeah, prior to that, they had done a couple of heavy metal specials hosted by Dee Snider that I used to have on VHS that I taped off of MTV. I would love to still have them.
Yeah.
They were on really late at night, so I just set the timer to record. So it would have all the commercials and everything, which would be a blast.
That'd be fascinating.
Yeah, blast to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, April 1987, we get the world TV premiere of Married with Children, 21 Jump Street, and the Tracy Ullman Show, all on Fox.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the year that Fox broke into kind of everything, as far as an actual channel, like a national channel, not just a local channel.
And the Tracy Ullman Show had The Simpsons.
Yes. In 1990, Twin Peaks premiered on ABC, and a show and a show that we were talking about just today at work, Living Color, premiered on Fox in 1990.
Great show.
Yeah, I will still stand by that show is hysterically funny.
It had its moments. That's for sure.
It was great. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and a lot of it would absolutely not fly now.
No, it's dated as hell. Yeah, if you see old clips of it, you're like, holy shit, how'd they get away with that?
Yeah, it's some of that stuff is like, holy shit.
But we all grew up in that environment. Like, it did not seem at the time. I mean, it probably should have. Yeah, but it was normalized at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would not fly now. 1992, we got some other premieres. Growing Pains and Who's the Boss? These aren't premieres, excuse me. Growing Pains and Who's the Boss do their season finales. Yeah. And then the big series finale was also April 1992, and that was the Cosby Show finale that drew 44.5 million viewers, which places it 6th all time.
I don't recall the finale to the Cosby Show.
I do. I loved it. Theo graduates from college. And they go watch him graduate, and then they come home, and all the kids go their various directions, and Cliff and what's the fuck? Cliff and Claire start to dance in the living room, and then they dance completely off the set. And then it like pans back to the audience. So it was a pretty cool.
Okay.
And that was 6th all time. Can you name the other ones in front of it?
MASH.
Yep, MASH is number 1.
Cheers.
Cheers is number 2.
Seinfeld.
Friends.
Yep, Seinfeld's number 3. Would you say, Bolo?
Friends.
Yep, that's number 4.
Damn, we're doing great.
Nobody's gonna get number 5.
Hold on. So recap. It was MASH.
Yep.
Cheers.
Yep.
What was
Seinfeld.
number 3? Seinfeld.
Yep, and Friends.
Friends.
We got those in order.
Yeah,
Somehow.
I know, which is pretty crazy. Five is.
Hold on.
I'm not going to
Give us
tell
a-
you. I'm just going to say it
give-
is. I was like, what? When I saw
Give us a
it.
decade for 5.
So it's an off the wall type.
It's also 80s.
Three's Company.
No, it. I don't know if I'm going to say this. It definitely was an 80s show. I don't know if it went off the air in the 80s or the 90s. If it did go off the air in the 90s, it probably would have been early 90s.
Love Boat.
No,
Huh.
you ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Magnum PI.
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
I would have never got
Yeah.
that. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he
I would
die in
never-
it or something?
No, I didn't realize it was that popular. We were talking about it at my family dinner.
Wow, there were 45
my-
Magnum PI's ripoff shows on around that time. So that's weird.
Well, I brought it up because we were talking about it, and my mom was like, "Oh my god, that show was so popular." I'm like, I remember it, but I didn't know it was that popular. So, April 1994, Kurt Cobain commits suicide.
Awful.
That was a big deal. Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
April 1997, Ellen comes out as gay on her show, which
That was a huge deal at the time.
Yeah, now that would just be a Tuesday on any
Yeah.
TV show. But yeah, that was a huge deal. I mean, it made the cover of Time magazine, I think. And all the appropriate people were outraged appropriately.
Yeah. Ellen was a good show. Like, that was an underrated show back in the day.
Yeah. 2011, Game of Thrones premieres on HBO. That's crazy because that doesn't seem right. That was 14 years ago.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that last book, or for the most recent book.
Yeah. In 2012, Father Time finally catches up to Dick Clark. And then these two are kind of shocking too. In 2018 and in 2019. In 2018, we get Infinity War. In 2019, we got Endgame, which
this came up in my memories is this week. I think we saw Infinity War.
That's why I added them, because it was all the pictures of us at both of the shows. That doesn't seem like it was that long ago, and it was. That's it's just crazy. So yeah, there's your April tidbits. Tune in sometime in May, and maybe we'll have some May tidbits.
That's one of my favorite memories. Is I was living with Brian at the time when he was reading the Game of Thrones books.
No, I wasn't reading them. I had never heard of it, and the preview came on, and you were like so gung ho, and I was like, "What even is this?" And you were like, "Oh my god!"
I'd read all the books.
Yeah, and you were like, "These are incredible! Like, I can't believe they're doing a show of this." And because first season more or less.
I had given Brian the books, right, and then he's reading the third book where the Red Wedding is in, and he's in his room, and I just hear him scream, and then a huge clatter. He had thrown the book against the wall.
I was so mad.
He was so mad.
Oh no!
But that was after Ned had already died. So I was already I already was understanding, like, because on the show when Ned died, I had not read that in the book. I had not read any of the books yet.
Oh yeah.
So when he died, in my brain, I was like, this can't be right. He's the main character of the show.
Right.
And I did. And it's funny, based on what we're.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it's we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But yeah, it was a shock. So
I just remember going, "Hey, that's my book."
Yeah,
he had thrown this giant hardback book against the wall.
Good books. The last two weren't great, but yeah, those are good books. All right, let's talk about shit that we're currently watching.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right. Dutch.
Yep.
You saw Sin, which
I did.
The new Ryan Coogler movie. And I mean, keep it spoiler free, but you want to give a brief your thoughts on that one?
Loved it. I'm really, really happy that it's doing well because it's an original concept. Without getting spoilery, I thought the cinematography was fantastic. Love the story, by the way, but I mean, can't really go into that without being kind of being spoilery, but I think the movie further cements the fact that like Michael B. Jordan is one of the great actors of our time. Love the music, love the cinematography. Thought it was really atmospheric. I loved the setting and like everything with like the whole Deep South setting and like what was going on like socially. And just like the fact that the the quote unquote bad guys, the villains of the story, were pretty traditional of their type, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know a little bit about it, so I don't know that I'll get to it in the theater, but I definitely want to see it.
It was good. It was really
I'm going to try to see it in the theater, hopefully this week.
Wait, none of y'all saw it?
No,
just you.
None of us. No.
This is definitely the first time that I've seen something and you guys have not seen it at all.
I know.
I would listen. My only disappointment was that IMAX at King of Prussia didn't have the 70 millimeter version, because I was absolutely willing to go to King of Prussia to see it in that IMAX theater, which is incredible. I know you guys know. I was really shocked that, because they usually always get like the IMAX 70 millimeter prints, and they just didn't have Sinners. So I went to see it at a Dolby Cinema, but it's kind of hard to talk about it without really giving much away. But I would definitely suggest to you guys try to see it in the theater.
All right.
Like,
I think Brandy would probably dig it, so maybe we will go see it.
It's really worthwhile.
Cool. How many Van Helsings?
How many Van Helsings? Wait, what's the ruling on this again? The lower the better, or the higher the better?
The higher the better.
I feel like that changes based on the breeze, whatever day Bolo wins.
No, it's always it's got to be higher.
Okay.
It's already confusing enough that we're rating things on a Van Helsing scale, which is a terrible movie.
I would say I would give Sinners at least 8 Van Helsings. It's like an 8 or 8.5. And I thought it was really, really, really good.
Nice. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Van Helsing, I just saw I just saw Where Are They Now, or thing about the cast of Van Helsing, and they all look fantastic. You know what I mean? It's like,
for them.
At the time of Van Helsing, Hugh Jackman's like in his 30s. And however old he is now, he looks great. Kate Beckinsale looks exactly the same as she did back then. Like in some of the other,
maybe they are all vampires.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Hope I look that good when I'm in my 60s. I can preview. I do not.
All right. Before we move on to the Daredevil overall season thoughts and The Last of Us, anybody seen anything else interesting they want to throw in real quick?
I watched the first episode of Andor.
Okay. What'd you say, Bolo?
I'm sorry. I've been watching the Mobland with Tom Hardy, Pierce Bronson.
Yeah. How is it good?
I believe it's fantastic. I also watched his movie on Netflix called Havoc.
Yeah, I wanted to see both of those things.
I recommend them. They're both. Mobland is fantastic. Havoc is it's a popcorn flick. Just sit back and really enjoy. It's kind of a gun-toting John Wick shoot 'em up. So you'll enjoy it.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Does he put on a funny voice in it?
Not really. I mean, he's an American cop.
So yes.
So kind of a normal.
Is Tom Hardy American or is he British?
Oh, he's British.
He is British. Okay.
Yeah.
But is he trying to do a Brooklyn accent? Because that'd be hilarious. It's like his Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in Mobland. He definitely has a little accent thing going on, and it's because it's a Guy Ritchie production, so it's
good.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he needs the Guy Ritchie accent. That's the best one.
Yeah.
Quinn, you say you watched the first episode of Andor?
Yeah, I got about half hour into the second one too. It's I know you love Andor, Bri, and I feel like it's well written, but god damn, that show's boring as hell.
Yeah, I watched the first 3. I love the show. I do, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and carry water for those first 3 episodes. They're good for what they are, but they are not really what I wanted. It takes place a year after the show ended, the last season ended, and then every 3 episodes, because they're doing 3 at a time, every 3 episodes, a year lapses. So, which I also don't know how I feel about that either. It just, I will say this: the 3rd episode, shit really hits the fan, and it's very good. But getting to that point, is just like, come on, man! Like they sideline Andor for entirely too long.
I don't need big scenes of like the Imperial typing pool. You know what I mean? Where they're all.
Yeah, I mean that stuff doesn't bother me because that's like the banality of evil that they're trying to show. And that these are just like these are all fascists, but they're also just like they just go about their day-to-day lives.
Bureaucracy,
what I didn't really like was the other rebellion group that he runs into. Is that in the first episode or the second?
Yeah, it's the first episode. They're goofy as hell. I guess it's the second half of the first episode.
Yeah, and I'm like, I get what they're trying to say here too. Like, I understand that the rebellion's a mess and you have all these different factions fighting with each other and they can't get their shit together, which is why fascism tends to, overcome a rebellion, because fascism's organized and a rebellion is a bunch of different people with different ideas and they don't all get along. I get it, but like, I didn't need an episode and a half of that. Some of it I liked. I love when he when he gets in the TIE fighter and just completely doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I thought that I liked all that.
Yeah, but that's in the first 10 minutes. But
but I mean, there's just
like you're saying with that group of rebels, if you want to call them that, it's the same as any movie or anything that dealt with a pirate crew. It's like Yondu's crew.
And they're all,
you know what I mean, from Guardians, where they're just sniping at each other. Who's leading, who's not, and you're just like, for Christ's sake,
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make me. I just was like, this isn't what I expected. But
I do like Ben Mendelsohn in that role that he played in Rogue One. The same, whatever his name is in there, he's really good. The girl that plays Mon Mothma is awesome.
I love her, man.
Yeah, not a ton to do yet, except talk at parties.
Yeah, I mean, then that's
So I don't know. It's like I said, the first one was I thought was a bore. It was hard to get through, and this one looks like the same with a little more, I don't know, color, a little more urgency.
The third one is very, very, very good. There's some good shit that happens. Some controversial shit that happens that, since you haven't seen it yet, we'll wait to talk about, because some people are like, that would never the Empire would never condone that. Like, motherfucker, the Empire are fucking fascists. They don't give a shit what their people out in the field, or if the people out in the field are abusing civilians, they don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, you'll get to that at some point. So let's do Daredevil and the Last of Us. Before we do that, though, go ahead. What?
Oh, no, I was going to mention, because I know I had said previously that like I was cool with that, but now I kind of changed my mind because I'm not finished with Daredevil. So I'll take my headset off while you guys are talking about that, and just let me know when we come back to The Last of Us.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be much on Daredevil, because as much as I enjoyed it, I've already kind of forgotten about it. Especially
you're not selling me on finishing it. That's the problem.
I mean, you definitely need to finish it. But my problem with it is this, and this isn't spoilerish, so I'll tell it to you. And this will probably be your problem with it too. Because they took an already filmed show or a like halfway filmed show and rebooted it. They still had to make use of a lot of the footage, and
so it was like kind of shoehorning footage that didn't necessarily fit.
I feel like the story they wanted to tell had to be told around the existing footage, and then when you get to where they finally are brand new episodes, which is episode 7, 8, I think.
That's the end. That's the end of the season. It was only 9 episodes.
It's almost like watching a different show. Like it's shot differently. The characters behave differently. Plot points that weren't really that interesting are quickly wrapped up. It's weird, and it's like I wish the whole show was like these last 2 episodes. That's how I felt about it. The last 2 episodes are very much like, yes, this is what I wanted as a sequel to the Netflix show. Whereas the first 4 or 5, I like them and they're good, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted, and I felt like it was a lot of wheel spinning. That suddenly the wheels are out of the mud in episode 7, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, it does.
So, and you'll see it as you watch it. You'll, you know what I mean? Like there's a noticeable difference starting in episode 7. So I'm really excited about the next season, which is coming out early next year, I think.
Well, that was the disappointing thing about it that I thought was, all right, now it's getting good and the season's over.
Yeah, that bothered me too.
Yeah.
So, so honestly, I don't know that we have to really even say that much more about it. It's definitely worth watching. Punisher stuff is very good. That dude was born to play the Punisher.
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, well, there's one thing I want to say. Dutch, take your headset off for 1 second. So Denise asked me this, and I could not answer. When the Punisher is in his apartment, Daredevil says, "You shaved and got a haircut just for me," and Denise goes, "How did he know that?"
Yeah, I don't know either.
And I could not answer. I'm I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe he smelled the hairspray. I don't know.
Yeah. So but that's the only thing I wanted to say on it. But they, one thing that did get me hyped before I had watched those episodes is Brian I think he put it in the group chat. I can't believe Disney Plus let that on TV.
Yeah, I was going to say that because that's not a spoilery thing either. But that is
that pertaining to the death of a character at the hands of the Kingpin?
Oh, do you already know?
That thing got spoiled for me on Twitter. Thankfully,
that was the most over the top gory thing I've ever seen in any Marvel thing ever. Period. Yeah, except maybe the R-rated Deadpool. The one that just came out, Deadpool and Wolverine, and any of and that kind of over the top violence in Deadpool and Wolverine was played for laughs. You know what I mean? Like this was like I am amazed that nobody at Disney was like, you absolutely cannot show that. Like
doesn't Marvel sort of have a carte blanche though that they can do whatever?
I don't know, dude. I mean, they say fuck and they say shit, and they don't outright show sex, but they definitely imply that people are having sex. But like. Yeah. This was
like they drop F-bombs throughout this whole series.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. This honestly might have been more violent than anything on The Last of Us so far this season. Like it's fucking crazy.
That said, what you told me, where I can't believe Disney let this on TV, let this on their streaming service, that could apply to several things during that episode. Like that was definitely the worst one.
Oh yeah, the way you're right. Yes, there are multiple things in that where I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
dispatched.
Yeah. That whole fight scene is all right. So before we get to The Last of Us, I do want to mention well, let's finish Daredevil. All in all, I'd say solid season. I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10. For me, what about you guys?
I enjoyed it. I'll mine probably be closer to 7.5, 8, but I feel like I expected more and I feel like I'm going to get more.
Yeah.
So I'm still in the beginning stages of that. There were parts that are a little awkward that held it back a bit.
I mean, it's almost incomplete because it's really only a half a season because technically next season is the second, because originally it was supposed to be 18 episodes in the season. So they split it. So,
I like almost all the characters in it. I can't stand James Gandolfini's kid.
I know you said that. I like him though.
Other than that, I like everybody else in it, and I'm excited for the next season.
Yeah, Bolo, what do you give it?
I would give it a solid 7. And I would say maybe a high 6, a 7, because there's a problem. Some of the fight scenes where he's fighting certain people, like sometimes he handles people very well, Daredevil.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the fight scenes
he
go
struggles
on a little too long. Yeah, he struggled a bit. I was like,
with people he
why is
shouldn't struggle with.
struggling
Yeah,
this guy, right? I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
I took that as he was rusty,
You know what I mean?
but yeah, I do agree that there are definitely scenes where I'm like, what? Why is this guy giving him that guy? That guy shouldn't. That guy shouldn't even be able to punch him. Like, what is happening here?
right.
So,
The two cops in the
don't get spoilery.
Apartment. Sorry.
Well, how far, Dutch? Have you not watched it at all?
Daredevil?
Yeah.
No, I made it like 3 or 4 episodes. I'm almost halfway through it. So.
Oh, okay.
But one of those Irish bank robbers gives him a hard time.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit.
Dutch hasn't got to that part.
That's cool.
Guy.
What's that?
Did Dutch make it past the White Panther guy?
Yeah, that was early on.
White Tiger.
Yes, the White Tiger.
Yeah. You know, the White Pussy Willow. You know how we do.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, there we go. Bringing it back.
I didn't I like that. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying like when Matt was fighting the two cops in the apartment.
In the apartment.
Like he handled those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
to the point where they actually should have been crippled.
Oh, I thought they were dead. I thought he killed them both.
And then they're just in the next episode.
Yeah.
He broke that one dude's arm in a bad way, and the other guy he just knocked out with a table.
Yeah.
However, that was one of my favorite parts of the whole series is when he talks shit on him in the hallway after.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's definitely a good show. Dutch, finish it and let us know your thoughts. I think you'll dig it. I think.
All right. Well, I mean, I kind of now want, and I'm glad because I kind of now want to, based on what you've said about how the last few episodes go.
Yeah, and again, you're going to leave with a feeling of like, well, shit, I wish there was another episode now. You know,
right?
So
yeah,
which is what you want ultimately.
Right.
Before we do The Last of Us, though, I do want to point out I watched Adolescence on Netflix, which is a 4-part British limited series.
I think Denise watched that also.
Yeah, it's all done. Every episode is done in one shot.
Oh wow!
So from a technical standpoint, it's amazing. Like did
we talk about this last week? This seems familiar to me.
Did we? Maybe we did. It's excellent. It's worth watching. It's depressing as hell. That's really all. But it is definitely worth watching. And it is depressing. All right. So at this point, well, I guess let's do maybe a little discussion without spoilers, and then we'll dive into spoilers for The Last of Us. So we're 3 episodes into The Last of Us. We have 2 game players and 2 non-game players. I am a game player, and Bolo is a game player. Quinn and Dutch have not played the games. So I guess just real quick, just our overall thoughts without spoilers. My overall thoughts are I'm very happy with it. I'm very pissed off that there's only 7 episodes because I feel like this show needs 10 per season. I hate the whole this whole thing of like now Prestige TV only gets like 7 episodes when they used to get like 10 or 13 or whatever. Because I do think you have to condense stuff that I personally don't want condensed, but I think that's more of a gamer problem than it's the same thing if you read the book and the book should be 10 episodes, but it's only 7, you would have that same problem. It's probably not like, I think there are probably things that I am like, well, I really wish this, and this, that you as a TV viewer are probably like, well, I like that. You know what I mean? Like I watch it with Brandy. She's not, like, oh, I really wish they did this, because she doesn't know that it was a thing, previously to have been done. Right. So I think it's really good. And without getting into spoilers, that's all I'll say about it right now. And then we'll get deeper into it shortly. But I love it so far.
I would put episode 2 up against any Game of Thrones episode. You know what I mean? It had that same kind of epic feel that had been built up. That had one of the most harrowing scenes I've ever watched. I've watched a ton of zombie movies and, The Walking Dead and a bunch of Netflix shows that had zombies in them. And that had one of the most harrowing, zombie attacks I've ever seen. Just one scene in particular, I won't spoil.
Yeah.
But holy hell, that was intense. So it's a quality show. One of my what's funny, there's somebody I know that hasn't watched it because they don't like zombie shows. They're not big into zombies. And the first season, I don't recall a ton of, the infected in it. They were always present, but there's only one, between like 3 episodes out of the season where they're a major factor in. It's mostly character stuff. So I think the show does a great job of characterization, and maybe the game does too, because I've heard it's like spot on. Interspersed with those, it's like the tension of not having the infected there just builds each time they don't appear. You know what I mean? So when they finally do appear, it has all this weight behind it that I really enjoy. So I was really curious how episode 3 would go after the events of the other ones, and it still has me hooked. I was wondering if how invested, and it was really, really good.
Yeah. What do you think, Dutch?
Okay, so I haven't been enjoying it as much as you guys. And the reason, I think, because it took me a minute to figure out what wasn't sitting right with me. And I think what it comes down to is the time jump, because I hope that's not too spoilery, but season 2 takes place 5 years after season 1.
Yeah.
But they reference a lot of shit that happened that I feel like we should have seen or experienced, but we're just supposed to infer it or just be like, oh yes, or take for granted that this happened or that happened. And within 2 episodes, to go to Quinn's point, you have a big infected attack. Not gonna go into the how or what about it, and then you have that other thing that happens, and it's like, was any of this didn't feel like it was earned yet? Like, what in the hell? Like, that was it was just weird. Like, it wasn't sitting right because, like I said, it felt like just so much had happened between the seasons that we were just supposed to take for granted and be like, yeah, that happened or this happened and a bunch of shit happened. And
I'll say this
to you.
What was that?
Does it seem rushed to
you?
A
little bit.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and this isn't spoiler, and I even when we get into the spoilery stuff like Bolo, we got to make a point. Let's not get ahead of where the show is. You know what I mean? So let's not be like in the game, later on. Do.
And it's funny because I kind of know what happens in the game based on what my friend had told me about it. So,
but a lot of the stuff that you're saying, like you don't see, and you wish you could see, you will see. A lot of things that are explained, and we can talk about that more. Let me get into spoilers, but first, let's let Bolo give us his unspoilery thoughts on the first 3 episodes.
Absolutely fantastic. Thoroughly enjoying it. It's just like Quinn said. You can put these episodes, or episode 2 against Game of Thrones. I mean, it's cinema to me. It captures, what the game has done, and they expanded in some sequences within the episodes, and it just works. It's solid. You know what I mean? I'm really impressed. You know what I mean? And trust me, it's like just like Brian said at one point, those are games you just can't revisit. You know what I mean? It's a one playthrough.
I think
it
I'm gonna fall back. I'm
heartstrings.
gonna retract that previous statement, because watching the show now, I think starting this weekend I'm gonna start playing the first one, and then I think I'm gonna play the second.
You're gonna start playing the game again?
I think I am. Yeah.
I'll tell you, the acting is superb. It's really, really good across the board.
It's good.
that little girl that plays Dina is fantastic.
You know
what I mean? Just with her facial expressions, she tells the whole story.
She was Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
Was she really?
Dude, Quinn, you know that's Hawk Girl in Superman.
I did not know that.
Now you do.
That's
she's really, really good.
Her name's is Isabella
Merced.
I think. Is that how you say it?
You got me.
That's
But
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pedro is fantastic. Catherine O'Hara in her scenes is great.
Yeah.
Really like
Kevin's mom?
yeah. Joel's brother and his wife have some nice
Very
moments.
Yeah.
Jesse's awesome. The villains, the new villains are good.
The
very villainous.
The crazy racist guy from the dances is
all right. So we're gonna do spoilers here in a second. So if you are tuning out at this point, thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate you listening, and we love you all. But from this point on, beware, because spoilers are here now. All right. So
holy shit, Joel's dead.
Yeah. So, did you guys know that was going to happen?
I did not.
Okay.
I figured it was going to happen at some point during the show. I didn't know it was coming during that episode. And the only reason I say this is because what little I know of the games, I knew the first one was like a father-daughter venture. And then I knew the daughter was the main character in the second one. So I just put that together that he would have to die at some point. Like I said, I didn't know it would be second episode. And I was worried that, like I hinted at, that I wouldn't be invested in the show going forward. So I was glad in episode 3 was so good. I was glad, it kept my interest.
Yeah. Did you think, much like I did during Game of Thrones, when they were about to behead Ned, that clearly someone's going to come in here and he will not die? Like,
no,
because Brandy literally until the moment, possibly a little bit after he got stabbed in the neck, still wasn't quite like he was, you know what I mean? Like, because you're trained to be in media, like Ellie's going to come in here and shoot these people and they're going to run off, or they'll just run off when she shows up,
also they were heavily teasing the brother's death at that time. So like it almost felt like Joel would live and the brother would be the big death.
That's where I thought it was going at first.
Yeah. So because they had all these meaningful glances between him and his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the game, that entire attack on the town is not in the game at all.
That is
really
no. That was added for the show, and it was added, I think, because they needed something to be happening while the stuff with Joel is happening.
Right.
As well. So in the game, Joel and Tommy are out scouting, and Tommy introduces them to Abby, and that's how she realizes that she's with Joel. And then it plays out similar to that, except that none of her monologue is in it. Well, let's put it this way. You don't see any of her monologue. She may say that, who knows, but you don't see it. She shoots Joel in the leg and beats the hell out of him. And
you don't know her motivation.
You do not know why. You have no idea why.
I feel like that's better.
I think it is better for the video game, but I don't think it would work for the show because in the game, you are Abby at the beginning. Well, you're Ellie for a little bit, and then you're Joel for a little bit, and then you're Abby, and then you're Joel again. I think it's been a while, but that whole sequence in the behind the fence, which is what I think you're talking about.
Yeah, that was the scary one. The whole zombie sequence with the Abby where the fence is collapsing. Holy shit!
That's all from the game.
That's awesome.
And then you're playing as her, and and then Joel comes and saves you, and then I believe you take over as Joel until Abby shoots you, and then you're Ellie, and then Ellie comes in and sees what's going down, and then you're Ellie for a long time, and then all of a sudden you're Abby. And you're like, why the fuck is this game making me play as this fucking bitch? I do not want to play with this. And then the game bounces you between Abby and Ellie until.
Well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil the show.
So I think the show is going to do something similar. I think next season is going to be way more Abby and way less Ellie. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I
also feel like Abby should have played Ellie. The actress
she would be a good Ellie. In the game, Abby is yoked to shit. Like fucking jacked like a WWE superstar. Like,
wow. Yeah, she's China.
She's definitely crazy jacked. Which I get why they didn't do it for the show, because you either have to hire someone who's already jacked or have the actress play her get it jacked, because I get it, you know what I mean? But but it's interesting for when her and Ellie meet up with it. Like, Ellie is not a physical threat to Abby in any way in the game, and I feel like in the show you're like, well, if they fall, it could go either way. You know what I mean? Like in the game, it's like, I don't know that Joel could take out Abby by himself. You know what I mean?
Right?
Like, she's fucking huge.
So,
but yes, the other thing that's interesting, like honestly, you should. Like maybe just start the first game and work your way through them. The amount of stuff that's shot for shot from the game is crazy. Like the whole lodge where they kill Joel is like exactly how it looks in the game. The clothes they're wearing is exactly what they're wearing in the game. It's fucking crazy. Like the level of detail. But that whole sequence with the horde attacking is not in the game at all.
That's I'll tell you that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
The lodge scene, Denise was screaming at the television.
Yeah,
like with every shot, every hit of the golf clubs.
Yeah, Brandy was like,
so was my Denise, bro.
Yeah. Brandy was like, every time it cut to Abby, she was like, "She's so stupid. What did she do?" Because Brandy thought they were going to meet Joel, and Joel would just see the error of their ways, and they would just be like, can we just live with you guys and have some adventures? Which, you're kind of like trained from watching so many movies and things that's probably what'll happen. Or maybe they'll kidnap Joel. Maybe they'll kidnap Ellie. You know what I mean? Right. But you're never like, they're going to torture Joel to death and kill him.
Yeah, they're going to torture and kill the main character of the show in episode 2.
Yeah. So
I was talking to my mom who's watching the show, and she said something like, well, he's not dead, right? They'll bring him back. And I was like,
he's not Jon Snow.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, I don't think there's magic in this world.
Yeah. Man, the show, it's just so well done. I loved, it's all just really well done. I mean, people are giving Bella Ramsey shit saying she's not a good actress. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I feel like there's a lot of the game players. I think a lot of the game players have the game exists.
I think this was her best episode, the most recent one.
I mean, dude, when she's on the floor begging them not to kill her, not to kill her, unbelievable. I mean, and the look she gets on her face when he kicks her is like, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? So,
but this past one, when she wakes up in the hospital screaming, and when she's in Joel's house.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. And that's funny because in the game, and I keep saying in the game, but there's a sequence where you go in his house as Ellie, and you can just wander around and like open drawers and like the thing with his jacket, like you can completely miss that in the game if you don't go in that room and walk up to the closet. Like that won't happen. You know what I mean? So the fact that they put that in, that's cool as hell. There's a lot of little neat things that are little fun callbacks that you'll see later in later episodes. The fact that she has a big astronaut poster in her bedroom that you see is pretty neat because there's a fun thing later that will probably make me very emotional when I see it. But it's just, I think she's doing a fucking bang up job. Her going from lying to Gail, the psychiatrist, about how she's okay, and then as she's walking down that hallway and her whole face changes is great, you know?
Yeah. I loved Catherine O'Hara at the baseball field though when she's talking to Tommy.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's a liar. And she's like, well, you know, some people lie and some people are liars. And she's like, yeah, she's a liar.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. I feel like she's not maybe the best psychiatrist though, because
she's an alcoholic.
Yeah, to be like, yeah, she's just a terrible person. Like, man, what are you talking about? She's a fucking 19-year-old.
I like that though, but that she's not the typical TV shrink.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. But it's like, dude, she lived through hell. This guy, she admits this dude has saved her life multiple times. Who's basically her surrogate dad, and she watched him get beat to death. You know what I mean? Like, cut her a little slack there, Gail.
I think she did.
Maybe, yeah.
She did cut her slack. She just took her lies and was like, all right, get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, you know, that whole set piece was fucking great. The bloater is funny. Those are like the big zombie monsters.
Yeah.
I feel like they work better in the game than they do in the show. I feel like
they look goofy in the show.
They're a little weird, you know what I mean, for the show. Like the other zombies are like, okay, that's cool, that's creepy. They look properly like emaciated and stuff.
Yeah.
But like that thing in game, those work. I feel like on screen it just looks like a goofy monster.
Yeah. And also that scene where he's coming after Tommy.
Yeah.
It's so anticlimactic because like you don't think the fire's working. Well, you know what I mean? It keeps coming and then it just dies.
Let me tell you. In the game, that's how it goes a lot of times. Because you're like, what the fuck? Why would this fucking thing die? And then it just drops over dead.
So that's what I mean. I was like, oh shit, he's out. Like
that was actually pretty funny that they did it that way. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you the amount of times I've run out of flamethrower gas fighting one of those things. I mean, like, Jesus Christ. And they were like throwing bricks and shit at it to just like anything. Like if he would have picked up a brick and thrown it at it, that would have been actually like perfectly on point for the game, because you're just like trying to do anything to get away from this.
But yeah, it was like, all right, he's dead now. It's going to get him. And then the thing just drops over
dead. Yeah.
Yep.
How does nobody in that fucking town get killed by friendly fire when like there's people just firing automatic weapons off the roof, but they're somehow only hitting these fucking...
Well, I mean, you don't know how many, I mean, they said a lot of people died. You don't know how they all died.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you what, though, those dogs were badass.
The CGI dogs.
You took the words out of my mouth.
But that was badass though, the way they just fucked shit up.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, I have a question though. Would they not get infected from biting into these fucking things?
I don't know. Apparently, dogs don't get it. I don't know. Because I mean, if that were the case, I would assume they would see lots of other like mushroom animals running around. You know what I mean? And you don't
right.
See them. So yeah, I guess not. I guess in the world of mushroom zombie men, those aren't. So, but yeah, and then episode 3, we get the fallout of the big. Are you all right over there?
Sorry.
What the fuck is that?
Drop the phone. That's all.
You get the fallout of the big battle and the big death. There's a 3-month time jump. Then it leads to and it leads to Ellie getting out of the hospital, which I mean, I've never had a collapsed lung, but I feel like 3 months in a hospital for a collapsed lung is a kind of a long time.
Well, if that's a good hospital, this is a shitty one that they just.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And technology also stopped at 2003. So
I was going to say, we can talk all about gout, but we can't talk about collapsed lungs.
That's right. I don't know. I don't have any collapsed lung knowledge, thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And that's a nice change from the game. Some of the changes from the game are nice. That's a nice one there. In the game, you get kicked in the head and knocked unconscious. And I feel like it's just like the next day she's already kind of walking around. So in this one, they really like played into it that she's very fucked up. So I like that. I like that. There is that little time jump there. I think that's That was a nice touch. People were saying they got to Seattle too fast.
They did get there fast.
But you know what? In the game, they leave and it fades to black, and then they're outside Seattle. So it's fine. I didn't have a problem with that. They added more than the game had, and you don't get any of that traveling stuff in the game. So, so that was nice. And then, yeah, they're outside Seattle, and there are a lot more wolves than they thought they were going to be.
And they're a lot more militant.
Yes. And you also get introduced to another group that will play a role later. But they appear to be
religious cult?
Appear to be some kind of religious cult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they will play a big part in the story as it goes. Also,
they're talking all peaceful. They seem all peaceful, but meanwhile they have these big ass bloody scars on their cheeks. And I'm like, they're probably not peaceful.
Yeah. They're a little bit weird.
Carrying hammers.
Yeah, they're a little bit weird. But yeah, I'm just super happy with how it's going. I feel like watching it as a game player that there's a little bit of when are they going to get to the fireworks factory? Like, because I know like big set pieces are coming up, and I'm just like, I can't wait till that part. So it's not like I actually watched the last episode twice. I watched it Sunday night, and then I watched it again last night with Brandy, and it was actually nice watching it the second time because in my brain I was like not rushing things as much as I feel like, and I feel like that's a lot of the reviews from the game players are critical of things where it's just like, well, dude, just let it play out, like I know you love that one part, but you got to get to that one part, so yeah. And I'm happy that I feel like gamers did a nice job of not spoiling it for the non-gamers, I think, of spoiling that death. Because I feel like there could have been that whole dickish attitude of like, I'm going to purposely spoil this for people. And I don't think anybody, nobody I know was spoiled.
They were too busy.
No, go ahead.
They were too busy bitching about Ellie. So
yeah, Ellie not being hot enough to play a barely legal girl.
Yeah. All the folks that I work with that are talking about the show, they didn't know it was coming, and they're not gamers. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, honestly, I would love to know the breakdown of people who are watching it that played the game versus people who didn't play the game. I gotta think it's way more people didn't play the games that are watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So and
my mom wasn't playing the game.
Yeah,
and she's watching the show.
Yeah, and it's telling the story in a way that works for television. Like the way it's told in the game wouldn't necessarily work for television because you aren't going to spend 20 hours playing as Ellie on the TV show and getting to know Ellie because you're literally in her body for 20 hours. You know what I mean? Right. Or playing as Abby for 15 hours. Like the game has to do things differently. Like the game had to be like, you killed my dad. Whereas the show had to be like, you killed my dad. Whereas in the game, you don't find that out until super late that, oh, that was her fucking dad. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Still don't know if that's better or worse. I kind of would like some mystery as to who she is and why she did that.
Yeah. I see that point too, but I feel like because she's important to the story overall, other than just being the villain, that she
that I didn't know. So I don't like, you know what I mean? I don't have that kind of perspective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she is the villain of Ellie's story. You know what I mean? But she's not just a one-dimensional, like, haha, I just want to kill this guy. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. My whole thing is, it's a story that when I played both games, I loved so much. And I'm like, I wish, like, Brandy could appreciate this story. Or I wish my sister could appreciate this story. Or I wish like, your mom could appreciate the story. But there's no way on earth these people will ever be able to appreciate this incredible story that I just lived through for the last month and a half.
That is how I feel about Mass Effect. I'm like, this is such a complex tale and so epic on so many levels. I wish I could share this with people that don't want to put the time and effort in to play this game.
That's what I mean. I'm just so happy that they're doing it and they're doing it the right way and they're keeping it so accurate to the point where the clothes that they wear are identical to what they wear in the game. You know what I mean? Like like when you see the different scenes that take place where you're like, looks exactly like the game. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I got a clip online of the New Year's Eve dance.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
They're wearing the same clothes. It's really eerie.
Yeah,
The lighting,
so
the lights hanging from the ceiling are the same. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like people don't and like that's the other thing. Like people like your mom and even like people our age, like Brandy or my sister, they don't have even the concept that video games have advanced to this point where like, yes, it is like you're playing a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like to your mom is like, is Super Mario Brothers is probably her basis for, like,
yeah. Well, it's just in her mind, it's a general time waster, video games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Her mind goes to the arcade that she would, give us money to play it, and not realize that these have reached the level of novels and movies.
Yeah. So that makes me happy. And I feel like as a gamer, any gamer who loved that story should just be happy that it's being told in a way where the creator has a part and has written most of it for the show, and they're respecting what he wanted and they're keeping it how he wanted it. Because people are like, I really, thought they might keep him alive even though he dies. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, him dying is the story of the whole rest of the story. It's like Ned. It's like if they decided Ned should live in Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Like then none of the other stuff happens. So
I bet you the majority of viewers don't know there is a game. Don't know that this comes from a video game.
Yeah, I wonder. You might be right. I mean, I don't know. Does it say like based on the video game in the opening credits or anything? I don't know.
I don't know. If it does, I didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm glad that it's weekly, but at the same time, I wish it wasn't. But I appreciate that it's weekly. I mean, because I want to just watch it, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it's weekly because I don't want to have to feel like I'm keeping up with social media, and I don't want to be spoiled. Like I didn't watch that episode yet. You know what I mean? So it's nice that,
Dude, I remember the thrill when the Game of Thrones theme would kick in every week. You know what I mean? Like that build up to waiting for it was real. So I like the week-long break. I don't think it hits the same. Those type of shows, I don't think they hit the same if you watch them all at once.
Yeah, I agree. I do too. I'm just, like I said, my impatience makes me wish it was, that I could go up and just binge it over the weekend. But it doesn't. It's not the same then. Him dying at the end of that episode and that shot of them dragging his body through the fucking snow.
That was heartbreaking, dude.
And then immediately going to the next episode, it wouldn't be.
No, you need to let that settle. You need a week to let that settle.
And I knew it was coming, and I thought about that shit a lot last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the next day, Brandy was like, I barely slept. You know what I mean? She's like, I just kept thinking about it. I'm like,
hey, is it just me, or does Tommy look like Joel now in a way he did not before? You know what I mean? Like when I look at Tommy, I'm like, oh yeah, he could be his brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't. When they're standing side by side, you don't feel that way.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, he does look like him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just super happy with it. It's really good. It's really good. So unless you guys have any final thoughts on it, I think we can wrap her up.
No, sir, I'm all done.
Yep, I'm done.
Well, that's what I say to you. All right.
No dog man this week? We don't have any dog man stories?
I do have a dog man for next episode, though.
Okay.
I just didn't know how long we were going to go talking about Daredevil and Last of Us.
Way too long, as usual.
Yeah. Not as long as last episode, though.
I know, for real.
And I have to edit some stuff out, so that'll make it a little shorter.
Sorry, folks.
I've tried to advocate for Brian keeping this around 90 minutes, but it never works. So
no, I gotta edit stuff out. It might be. Look, I can't. Look, I don't know. It is what it is. We got an email, thegenxlounge@gmail.com. You can also send text messages to the pod through the link that the podcast is on. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends to listen. Give us 5 stars. Goodbye. That's all I got. Every episode, I have to look for the fucking outro song. I'm gonna get to it soon. I feel it.
You start humming it until you find it.
I feel it in my bones. Feel it in my plums.
What's the matter, Wilbur?
They changed my Coke.
Something wrong with it?
I know they sure changed it.
Coulda asked.
What coulda? I stuck with them through 3 wars and a couple of dust storms, but this is too much. Guess something big made them change.
Right, big.
Right big. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Still coulda asked.